welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about Resident Evil 2 Remake. And yes, I know this game came out, I want to say in 2019, and that's okay. I didn't start my YouTube channel until later, actually doing reviews in the last month, so I have a lot to catch up on. And for those that are new to the genre of zombies, you're going to definitely enjoy this one. So let's just dive right into it and have a little conversation about the game itself. I'm not going to start from the beginning. I actually did a video earlier today, and the volume was so low on my microphone that I said, you know what? Wow. I listened to it. You can hear the shoot more than actual me talking. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just, record again, and we're going to just talk a little bit about the game for those that haven't played it yet. So the thing about Resident Evil 2 remake is that they did a very, very good job of adding all the horror elements that you were used to in Resident Evil 2 and making them current. What I mean by that is you have the zombies, you have stuff like this that you're seeing here right now. The dialogue is a lot better. It suits the atmosphere better for 2021 now, but the game came out, I want to say, late 2019. I forget the exact month. But it's great. The dialogue, the game itself, the action, how well it runs. It's just a really good game. And what they did was now granted they did change some of the areas up slightly, but for the most part, every area in this game, like the factory and a few others, are still in this game. For the most part, they're still here. So if you were the type where you remember the factory, what was it called? Not just the factory, but the Umbrella Lab. They did change that up a little bit. They made it more. What a word I'm looking for. They made it more 2021-ish, where you can believe that this is actually happening. You know what I mean? Where a lot of games, when they tend to do remakes, it's pretty much just a little cell shading of the same game. This was completely reamped from the beginning to the end. The way they introduced Marvin, which is coming up right here, is much better than the original. You could definitely tell that they took time to really flush this game out. You knew it was a hit. The moment I saw the preview, I knew for a fact that this game was a hit. Immediately. You could definitely tell. Your item boxes are still there. So for those familiar with the item boxes, you drop items inside. There's multiple item boxes throughout the entire game at different save spots where zombies can't come inside. And your items do transfer over to each one. Again, I do have to talk about this review as if I'm talking to new customers that never played the game. So again, the zombie genre, to be honest, over the last few years, decade, as a matter of fact, has been really saturated with, certain games that weren't that great. Like I did like State of Decay 2. I love Dying Light, but it wasn't that many zombie games that were really worth mentioning. There were other Resident Evil titles like Revelations 1 and Revelations 2, and a few others that really held you over in between the years, but they were never near the quality that we're looking at right now. It wasn't even close to the quality that we're looking at right now. Everything from the liquors, every enemy is in this game, except for what is that monster called? Except for the plant monsters. So yeah, you have zombies, you have liquors, you have Mr. X that stalks you throughout the game to a certain point. In the B game, he's always there. Similar to the I don't know if he's always there in the original one. I know he popped up a lot in the B game, but this one he's literally stalking the halls, similar to like Lady D in Resident Evil 8. But I will say Lady D is harder to. She's not harder to dodge. It's just more so a seasoned player knows not to get close to certain people. You can run into a save room and watch the person try to attack you, and they can't, and then they'll walk off, reset themselves, and then you're good to go. A game is still an AI no matter how you look at it. Anyhow, what I will also say about this particular game is that all the elements, like this hallway, hasn't changed. You still have these areas right here for the most part. You have the gentleman that was attacked by the liquor. You have the guy that's hanging. They stuck to the main story of this game, even though they added other elements like the security knife, which I think that originally came in Resident Evil 1 Remake on GameCube. They did add other elements into the game to kind of make it more realistic. Leon's uniform is definitely different. Keep in mind, it still takes place in that 1998 period. So they did a very good job with the ragdoll system. You know, woo, with that. Oh, his head split. Jesus. Anyway, I forgot about that part. This is a hallway that you know, the doors are actually still the same two locked doors. So you get the club key right here. I'm not sure if Leon gets the club key or if that Claire. I know one of them gets the heart key, one gets the club. They kept all those elements the same with the keys, the type of enemy types. They did add a new feature where you can pick up a board, security board, and put it on the glass, right? And it'll block zombies, so they can't bust through the windows. That's something that they did add into it. For the most part, you're going to recognize a lot of areas that was in this game that are also in the original that didn't change at all. I mean, they changed, but not so dramatic where you won't be able to recognize the power plant. Zombies can actually come through doors, as you can see. Um, what else do we have here? Certain doors that were locked before aren't locked, but there's different ways to actually get through them, like I just did just now. It's a really good game. Some of the items, I'm silly me. All the items are in different places, obviously from the original, and this one does have like the similar gun connections, like Leon's shotgun. The Matilda can get the rapid triple burst and other things. They still have the samurai edge type weapon in the B game where Leon turns it sideways and he's shooting like a gangster. So they really did keep those elements in. I did hear people complain about that, but I said, listen, if you didn't have the original, you won't understand. So for new players, this is the new zombie experience for you. You probably never played Resident Evil 2 because you were born in a different era where there was a PlayStation 3, there was a PS4 already out. Now there's a PS5. So you're definitely skipping a lot of the old games that became popular. But I'm glad that they actually remade this, as I waited 20 years for this game to be remade. And I'm finally happy that Capcom did it. I don't know if they were going bankrupt or they were losing money. I'm glad that happened because they were forced to bring back a classic, and it's a beautiful game. So anyway, again, if you're used to this game, if you're used to the hallways, if you still remember the original map like me, then you notice that the layout for this area is literally the same as the old one. Now they did add new rooms into the game, of course, which you know we all expect that. New rooms, new little secret areas that you can go to, but the base game is exactly the same. There's no difference really in terms of like bosses. They did change the bosses up a little bit, like the mutation might be different here and there, but other than that, like you fight William with the pole, you fight William with the forearms, you fight William in different what's the word I'm looking for here, iterations of him throughout the game, like you did in the original. And the B game does give you more boss versions of him, where you beat him on a train and all that. So if I'm spoiling it, that's fine. I'm just gonna say train. I'm not gonna say any more. Everyone should have probably played this game by now, but if you didn't, that's fine. You know, it's never too late. I see people that haven't even played Dark Souls yet, and to be honest, that's a game that I feel that everyone should play is Dark Souls. It's a very challenging game, especially in the beginning, but after a while, you get used to the genre, and you know it becomes easier. Not necessarily by yourself, but it does become easier to play. You know, get good and all that good stuff. But what I will say is that this game is very good. Um, Graphics very good. I'm using a GTX 980 in my particular computer, and as you can see, I do have like a little like it's not the best graphics. Like I don't have it all the way up. Like if you look at the settings right here, right, I do see this is a 4 gig video card, so I'm using about a little over a gig and a half when it comes to processing power. In addition to that, my game can actually go to 3440 by 1440 because of my monitor, and just 100 hertz on the screen. My wife's monitor is a little bit better, but I do like this one. I like the size of it. And I normally just keep things at medium graphics or so. You don't want your computer to burn out, especially if you're a PC gamer. Parts are extremely expensive. But anyway, back to the review. So, for the most part, you have the same exact guns of the original. Uh, this focuses more on survival, so you can't just blindly shoot zombies. What I suggest is my strategy every zombie game is shoot the legs. There come a crawler, I let it live. It's easy for me to go back and forth, especially when Mr. X comes or the lickers pop up eventually. That's still here. Oh, yeah, he's still here. So, you run past him before he grabs me. Alright, so, you know, again, this is the stairway that leads upstairs. If you ever played the original Resident Evil, they did add I didn't see that guy. They did add like a steam room into this game, and the next room to the side. So They did add extra rooms to this game. You know, this little open closet area right here, if you notice it. Of course they had to do that. It's a next gen game, you know. And to be honest, whoa, woo, my heart jumped. So that's wrong. That's probably wrong. The cat. It's one of these codes. There we go. So, you know, after you find the codes for certain doors and things like this, the game becomes easier. They did change the elements of how you open doors in this game. What I mean by elements is there's these key card things, these things right here where you can get buttons to an elevator. Like, not an elevator, it's buttons to the security, the RPD room that has bullets inside of it. Like, you can get a shotgun off the wall. You type in the inputs to unlock the doors. So they did add a lot more things into it. You still have the STARS office. You still have the safes behind the chief desk in different places that you may need in order to you know, progress in the game. So for the most part, they kept the base game the same as the original. They just upped the graphics. Yes, it is a complete overhaul, and it is technically an entirely new game as we see it. I wonder if this is DCM. Um, excuse me, a little under the weather, but again, this is no Left 4 Dead. It's not Dying Light. I love Dying Light in different games, but this is more realistic. You can get grabbed by multiple people at the same time. You do have a defensive knife, where if you get attacked with a knife, I'm sorry, if you get attacked, you have the ability to pull the knife out and stab the zombie and then keep on going. But you can kill the zombie and then eventually, you know, get your knife back. But if you use a knife as an actual weapon, like swinging, you know, it's not, it breaks. The knives in this game actually break. So if you're used to Resident Evil 1 remake that was back on GameCube many millennia ago, um, you'll be used to the security knife where you can stab a zombie to get him off of you, you can kill him, you can pick it up. They kept that feature, they implemented it in this game, which I'm happy for that, because this game doesn't actually have a dodge feature or anything like Resident Evil 3 remake. And you know, even though it's still slow paced, to me, it's a decent pacing. It gives you the element of surprise in this game. You know, you can walk past a zombie, you never know when this thing is going to attack you. As a matter of fact, I'll show you how the knife works. See, make sure it doesn't time it. Alright, so when a zombie gets towards you, right, they'll grab you. And you press the left button or whatever your controller is to push the zombie off of you, right? And that is how you're able to break free from bites. Figure I'd just show you that little feature right there. And, you know, it uses a chunk of the knife up when you, did I get up? Oh yeah, when you do that feature. So when you pick your knife up out of the zombie's chest, which I'm about to do, hopefully he's dead, as you can, it's not going to show you right here, but a portion of the meter, if you look underneath the knife, it's the actual meter showing, it's blinking, as a matter of fact. If you show the knife blinking, it shows that meter. You can stab someone maybe 2 to 3 times per knife, if we're just talking about defending yourself from zombie attacks. But again, the game is good. Mr. X is in here. You have your lickers, which are optional. What I mean by optional is you don't have to kill lickers in this game if you're quiet enough. If you're not quiet enough, then, you know, it's not going to happen. If I say right here, this is the area that wasn't here before, this little room. You do these new puzzles right here where you just line them up. And then what it does is it unlocks one of the emblems. Oh, I forgot to go through doors. It locks one of the emblems that, is he? Is that the fat guy? You got back up. Alright, so it blocks one of the emblems that unlocks in the beginning of the game where you can go underground that leads to the subway area. So again, this game is good. I do suggest it for anyone that's a Resident Evil fan. You won't be disappointed. Games, if you've ever played Revelations 1, Revelations 2, those games are okay, just to kind of get your Resident Evil fix and talk about certain characters. But for me personally, this is where the game is at. Like, Resident Evil 2 Remake is definitely a big step up from those other games, and it's truly a remake to the game that we loved, and they did it very well. They didn't do it dirty. There's some things that are missing here and there. It's not perfect, but hey, I'm still giving it a 9 out of 10. I mean, I'll give it a 10 out of 10, just because not many games deserve a 10 out of 10. And I waited 20 years for this, and I'm a little biased, so get it. get Resident Evil 2. If you find it on sale, especially if you have a game console, you probably get this game for 20-30 bucks, honestly, at this point at GameStop, brand new. You don't have to spend top dollar for this. It's been out for roughly 2 years almost, so um, enjoy. Anyway, that's the review for Resident Evil 2 Remake. I had to kind of cut it down because I did another one that was more in depth, but you know, talking can really take a lot out of you when you're doing reviews. And I only have 16 subscribers, so I'll give it a my all in a review, and only 2 people will see it, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video, which will be the remake to Resident Evil 3. And then the next one will be the remake to Resident Evil 8 Village, my take on that one. See you in the next one.